The last time I saw my brother, he was laughing at something on my phone. We were sitting on the porch, a half-eaten pizza between us, beer going warm on the table. It was a Thursday. He got a text around 10:15 p.m. Checked it. Went quiet. Said he had to take care of something. Didn't explain. By 11:40, he was dead. Drunk driver. Wrong lane. Instant. I don't remember much after the call. Just headlights outside my window, my dad's voice shaking through the phone, and my girlfriend holding me as my whole body caved in. Her name's Marissa. She was everything in that moment. Soft hoodie, warm breath, arms wrapped tight around mine while I shook. She handled everything I couldn't. Calls. Clothes. Casseroles. Condolences. I barely moved for days. She never left my side. She even slept on the floor next to my bed when I couldn't stand being touched. People kept telling me how lucky I was to have her. And I believed them. Because grief makes you stupidly loyal to anything that doesn't feel like loss. The funeral was a blur. The weeks after? Even worse. But she stayed. And slowly, I started to breathe again. Started eating. Laughing even. Started thinking maybe I could hold on to her as the one good thing that came out of all this. That's what I thought. Until the day I borrowed her iPad to order groceries. And something popped up in her photo archive. A picture from the night my brother died. And she was in it. With him. It was just supposed to be groceries. She handed me her iPad with a lazy smile and said, "Use the Target app, mine's logged in." I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through dog food and oat milk. When the screen dimmed for a second and a notification popped up. iCloud photo sync complete, 2 new items. I don't know what made me tap it. Maybe instinct. Maybe it was the thumbnail, blurry neon, shadows, something that looked like movement. The first photo was nothing. A snap of a cocktail, half drunk. Probably old. The second was everything. A group selfie. 4 people. Bar lights, hazy air, red cups in hand. Front left, my brother. Smiling. Right beside him, Marissa. Her hand on his chest. His arm around her waist. The timestamp on the image. 10:39 p.m. The night he died. The night she said she was just home scrolling TikTok, waiting for me to call. I stared at the screen like it might change if I blinked hard enough. It didn't. She never told me they saw each other that night. Not once. In all the sobbing. All the late night breakdowns. All the moments she whispered, "He loved you more than anything," into my neck. She hid this. I turned the screen toward her. "What is this?" She looked up from the sink. Paused. And in that half second, her entire face changed. Not guilt. Not fear. Recognition. She knew exactly what I'd found. She dried her hands slowly. Turned around. Looked at the iPad. "That was months ago. I forgot that was even on there. You forgot you were with my brother the night he died?" She didn't speak at first. Then let out this soft, practiced breath, the kind people use before a lie. "It wasn't like that. We ran into each other by chance. I was grabbing a drink with Alina, and he was there with some friends. You said you were home that night. I didn't want to upset you. What was I supposed to say? Hey, I saw your brother an hour before he crashed and burned?" She shook her head. "He seemed off. Weird, honestly. He said he needed to clear his head. We only talked for a minute. Took that photo as a joke. That's it." I just stared at her. Because the Marissa I knew could talk for hours about her iced coffee. Could write novels in a birthday card. And now she wanted me to believe she forgot that detail? "Why didn't you say anything after the crash?" "Because it wouldn't have helped. You were already broken. What would it change?" She looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. Like digging into the past meant I was choosing pain. But something in her eyes said more. It wasn't the kind of panic that comes from being caught. It was resignation. Like she'd practiced this before. Like she'd known this moment might come. And that told me everything. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of 1,000 small silences between us. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. Said she had errands. I grabbed my jacket and drove to the one place I'd avoided since the funeral. Jake's garage. My brother's best friend. The guy who picked him up more times than I could count. He looked surprised to see me. "You okay, man?" "Not really." "Can I ask you something straight?" "Shoot." "Did you know my brother saw Marissa the night he died?" Jake's jaw tightened, just for a second. "Yeah. I mean, kinda." "What do you mean, kinda?" He rubbed the back of his neck, avoided my eyes. "Look, they had a thing. Before you. A long time ago." I froze. "A what?" "They hooked up. Briefly. It was messy, but he never talked about it much. Said it didn't mean anything. But I remember he got real weird when you started dating her." My mouth went dry. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" Jake shrugged. "He asked us not to. Said if you were happy, we should leave it alone. Didn't want to screw things up between you two." I leaned back against the wall, like something had punched the air out of me. So not only had she seen him that night, she had history with him. She knew. And still never said a word. Jake looked at me carefully. "You think that's why he drove off that night?" I didn't answer. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure what I believed anymore. All I knew was this. The person who held me while I mourned had been holding a piece of the story the entire time. She came home that evening like nothing was wrong. Grocery bags, a soft smile, small talk about the weather. I nodded, played along. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Later, while she showered, I stood in our shared closet. I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe proof. Maybe just air. Instead, I found a small shoebox tucked behind some winter coats. Old notebooks. Wristbands from concerts. And a folded sheet of paper with my brother's handwriting on the outside. "For Marissa, don't read until you're ready." The date hit me like a truck. 1 week before the crash. My chest clenched as I unfolded it. "Marissa, you said I should keep quiet. Said it's better if he doesn't know. But I don't think I can carry this anymore. You made your choice. You picked him. But that doesn't erase what we had. Or the way you looked at me last Friday night. If you want him, you need to be honest. Because I won't keep pretending none of it happened. I care about you. Too much. But this secret, it's poisoning both of us. D. I read it 3 times. Then again. This wasn't just a thing they had in the past. This was alive. This was active. This was 1 week before he died. And she never said a word. Not when I sobbed into her hoodie. Not when I asked her if my brother had been acting strange. Not when I told her I felt like something was missing. She let me believe he died with a clean conscience. While she buried the truth next to my grief. And now I didn't know who to mourn more. My brother. Or the version of her I thought I knew. I didn't confront her. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't ask why or how long or what else are you hiding? I just packed a small bag after midnight, scribbled 1 sentence on a note, and left it on the kitchen table beside the folded letter. "You let me grieve him. Without telling me he died, knowing something I never will." I booked a motel 10 miles out of town. Somewhere cheap, quiet, forgettable. I lay in bed with the lights off, TV on mute, just staring at the ceiling fan spin. The silence was louder than I expected. By morning, my phone had 10 missed calls. 4 texts. "Please come home. I didn't mean for you to find that. Let me explain. Please, I didn't want to hurt you more." At 10:42 a.m., there was a knock at the door. I didn't move. Didn't need to. Her voice came soft through the wood. "I read your note. I know how it looks. But it wasn't like that." I opened the door. She looked like she hadn't slept, hair tied back, hoodie zipped high, eyes already red. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. She sat on the edge of the motel bed, looking everywhere but at me. "I loved him. Once. A long time ago. But we were stupid. It didn't mean anything." I said nothing. "The night he died. I didn't plan it. He asked to talk. I didn't know he was so broken. He said he'd tell you. I begged him not to. Then he left." She finally looked up. "I didn't kill him. I just didn't stop him." My hands were clenched so tight I couldn't feel my fingers. "You held me while I cried over him, knowing damn well you were the one thing he couldn't live with." Tears spilled from her eyes. But I didn't move. Because some betrayals don't come with fists or affairs or shouting. Some just come in the form of quiet omission. The kind that cuts deepest. I drove home just before dusk. The air was heavy, like something unfinished still lingered in it. The kind of quiet that settles right before the truth lands. The house was unlocked. Lights off. The closet, half empty. Drawers, left open, like she'd been in a rush but didn't care enough to clean the scene. On the kitchen table, in the same spot where I'd left her the letter, was another envelope. My name written across the front in her handwriting. I didn't open it right away. I just stood there, the hollow hum of the fridge the only sound around me. Then I sat down and read. "Aaron, you were never supposed to find out like this. And if I could go back and tell the truth sooner, I would. But I was afraid. Afraid that once everything came out, you'd see me differently. The way you're seeing me now. Your brother and I were a mistake. A short, reckless thing we both buried before we even knew how to process it. But the night he died, we talked. And it all surfaced again. He was hurting. He said he never really moved on. And I told him I wasn't sure I had either. That's what broke him. And then he left. And then he was gone." I felt the bile rise in my throat. But there was more. I didn't know how to tell you. Because a week later, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't know whose it was. So I stayed quiet. Because either way, someone I loved would be destroyed. I lost a baby in January. I didn't even tell my mom. The page shook in my hands. She signed it with nothing more than her first initial. No. Love. No. I'm sorry. Just the kind of ending that doesn't leave you angry. Just empty. Because there was nothing left to say. Truth has a way of finishing conversations before they start. I loaded up the rig that night. Didn't even tell my dispatcher I was back on the road. Just hit the ignition, waited for the rumble to settle in my chest. Midnight. Clear sky. Dash lights glowing soft blue. I took the long route. Didn't need to be anywhere. Just needed to be moving. The hum of the tires. The low whine of the engine. The steady rhythm of the world not stopping for anyone. And in that silence, I finally spoke. Not out loud, but through the wheel. The drive. The distance. I thought about my brother. How he never got to say what he needed to say. How I built my grief on a lie. On her arms around me. On her voice in my ear saying, "You're not alone." And yet the truth was, I'd been alone the whole time. The miles blurred. So did the memories. Not because I forgot, but because I was finally letting go. Of the pain. Of her. Of the version of myself that needed her more than I needed honesty. Somewhere between two truck stops in Ohio, with static radio playing some forgotten country song, I realized something simple. Grief doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just drives. And if you're lucky, it drives away. The end.